Hello, everybody. This is Sri from BizBuzz. What matters the most in your business? Sponsored by My Work Belt. My Work Belt is a software and act as a business operating system for you when you are particularly in service-based small business, anywhere from 5 employees to 25 employees, and you need to check it out. myworkbelt.com. And today I have Craig, he's a principal ally at Allies for Me, and Allies for Me is a marketing firm. They very much have mastered on how to sell high ticket, high price, high trust items. And if you are one of those companies that you feel that you are on a high ticket sale, Allies for Me is the place to go and get some help. Craig, how are you doing?
Sri, I'm doing wonderfully. Thank you. How about yourself?
Wonderful. Thank you very much for being on the call today. Uh,
Yeah.
Craig, we were talking about business operating systems. First, I wanted to demystify this, right? You made a very, very interesting point when I said operating system. There are so many uh, concepts that are called operating systems, but they are not really software. They are actually business process implementation. One of them is EOS, which is quite popular, especially in Michigan, but I'm not sure if any other areas that is as popularity as in Michigan. EOS is a business operating system, but it is nothing to do with the software. It's nothing to do with the hardware. It is purely a process, and they call it as a big rocks, small rocks, and different tasks, and all those things, right? That's what your perspective is. But when as coming from information technology background, when I say operating system, immediately my mind goes into the software side of it. And then we
Yeah.
dabbled into the software side of it. So you are a marketing profession. Marketing element alone of any business has a multiple pieces and different gears. So what is your take on having an operating system?
Yeah. So let me talk about and this is actually my original journey when I was building out the tools that I worked with.
Mm-hmm.
Is I would use, I was using MailChimp for
Sending emails.
email. I was using a different social media tool. Um, for social media. I'd have these different components that I would use. One that I still use, but less. This may seem menial, but it's called Gravity Forms, and it's a form technology that works with WordPress, which my website's still in WordPress.
Hmm.
And um, somewhere around 2015. I started realizing that I needed to make a change, and I started moving towards a more comprehensive marketing software. I use HubSpot. There are other
Mm-hmm.
platforms out there,
Mm-hmm.
but what it does is it brings all these things into one umbrella, and it lets you coordinate your activities and see what's going on a lot better. And that was part of the original pitch. And I have to admit, I was dubious at first. I was like, I like MailChimp because they live or die based on how
Mm-hmm.
good their email is.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
like Gravity Forms because they live or die based on how good that is. But as time has gone on, um, I've really seen the advantage of having everything in one system for a few reasons. One, you don't have to do all these integrations. You don't have to have Zapier
Yeah.
or Integromat, now called Make, do all these little connections where it connects things for you. They're all just connected right inside the system. And so I have really good tracking where I can track how somebody interacted with email, interacted with website, interacted with social media.
Right.
And not only that, um, the HubSpot platform I'm on, when somebody comes to my website and fills out a form, they every time they come back, I don't ask the same questions. I ask different questions. It's called progressive profiling. because
Hmm.
I'm building all this information in the system. And I'll create a form where I'll say, I want to know these 10 things about this
Hmm.
prospect, but only show 4 form fields at a time. And so
Right.
every time they come back, they'll,
And it
they'll
has
get
for
another
different.
piece of information.
So the overall, what you're talking about is an operating system for a marketing side of any business. Instead
Yeah,
of using half a dozen different tools, you use one tool, which is also called an operating system, but you make that function really strong and you don't have to waste time, money, energy in integrating two different multiple things. And you don't have to worry about double entry data and you don't have to worry about mismatching of the data between multiple systems. Is that right?
absolutely. And there's something else, and I would go a step further because one of the complaints about HubSpot is people say it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go off and you start buying these other things piecemeal,
Little things.
you buy your video hosting, which
Yes.
HubSpot will host your videos. You
Yes.
go buy these. Next thing you know, you're really, really close to the cost of just buying HubSpot.
Yeah. Well, that's actually streamlines your whole process, and then it relieves you from a chaos.
Yeah,
So HubSpot is giving you, in other words, the operating system is giving you a great deal of relief from all the headaches that you have to do with. And if you are a technical person, that's one story. But if you are not technical person, that you have to create integrations on your own, and then you have to hire somebody else to create integrations that you can't do that. And it becomes really complicated. I mean, large corporations that I came from, large enterprises, they have something called enterprise resource planning softwares.
yeah,
These are multi millions of dollars of investment, but they do that. They put the inventory system, they put the project management system, they put all these kind of systems together, but they buy something called SAP, which is a large enterprise software, or Oracle Financial, or even for that matter, these days, some people are buying Salesforce as their ERP system.
yep.
So it is not really technically an ERP, but these are large companies. But small businesses, there are so many operating systems available that helps them to navigate and bring all the different areas of the business together. Right. Now, when you look at these operating systems, what is that in your case? You looked at the HubSpot, right? What triggered you to go to HubSpot?
Yeah, so when I looked at HubSpot, I looked at 3 different systems, um, and it was when I evaluated them, it seemed like HubSpot. I do a little. Described it as the 3 little bears. One was too much, one was too little, and one was just right. And the one that was just right was HubSpot. And when I made that choice, that was before HubSpot grew to the company that is today. Um,
There got to be something that is triggered from going different softwares. Like you said, you are using Mailchimp and you're using Gravity Forms and other tools. But something must have triggered for you to see, okay, there got to be something that I can use to put them all together into one piece, opposed to multiple things. What gotten you triggered for that?
well, and that was it. That was really the functionality. I felt like HubSpot was kind of the perfect spot. And this isn't an ad for HubSpot.
No,
There
yeah.
are other platforms, but here's one of the things I think you have to think about. And I tell people this when they're evaluating because I recommend to folks what they should get. And every now and then they's like, oh no, I like this other program. It's a little bit cheaper. And when you dig into it, one of the things that's really nice about HubSpot is it's so big that almost everybody has an integration for it. So when you're
Hmm.
talking about the overall operating system, HubSpot has a native integration for QuickBooks. So I
Yeah.
can take data from HubSpot, move it right into QuickBooks. I can view QuickBooks data right inside HubSpot. And so that makes life a lot easier when you do that. Let me give you an example of there's somebody I know, I won't say too many details to not call them out, but they had been asking my advice. They were just kind of a friend, and
Hmm.
they had been asking my advice, and I kept telling them, I said, "Look, just get HubSpot." And they would go off, and I wasn't even suggesting they get the professional tier HubSpot. I was recommending the starter tier, which is enormously affordable. And and they kept playing around with these different systems. And finally, one day, he's like, "Okay, I'm ready to move over to HubSpot." And his response, I was ready to smack him. He said, once we got him on board with it, he's like, "Craig, I should have done this a year ago or a year and a half ago." Like, you mean you should have done what I told you to do a year and a half ago? But he
See,
was
that's
starting to,
what happens, right? When you are comfortable doing with something that you're always doing it, coming out of that comfort zone is very difficult,
yeah,
and it's very scary. Now, even though you are a good friend, you are telling that person, "Hey, go to this," opposed to your comfort zone. It still took them some time to come out of that comfort zone,
right.
right?
And they
So
were and they were looking at just um, cost that like you would sit down and say, this package costs this much, this HubSpot costs this much, and they were just looking at it on a piece of paper, but not capturing the full picture. And the full picture
it's
was,
difficult.
yeah,
How do you justify that the cost of irritation of something that you want to do, but that tool doesn't provide you? You move on doing
yeah.
with something different, but that irritation that you had, that 5 minutes or 15 minutes, costing you to do something productive, but you can't put a price tag on it.
And I would even challenge that. It's they don't put a price tag on it, but this person, I don't know exactly his hourly rate, but I think it's in the $200 or $300 range. And so if you think about this, how many hours a month
Mhm.
do you have to spend dealing with a system that's not working well before you paid for a bigger system, whether it's,
A comprehensive operating system for
yeah,
anything. No, great. Thank you very much. That's a great analysis. See, what we are discovering here is that you can start with little tools of different things. As you start growing as a business owner, you are obligated, and it is important to evaluate what is going on and how can you go into a one comprehensive operating system that can do all these things together. In the beginning, when you wanted to go an operating system that runs your software, that runs your whole business, such as you wanted to have a system that's going to help you do quotations, all your salespeople. But in the beginning, you are the only salesperson, or you may have only one person. But that makes it only one small tool is enough. But as you grow, you have to have all the systems that will be talking to each other, software systems, and that will make your life a lot easier. So if you are somebody listening to this, and hopefully that you can take some nugget here, that you may start with small tools, multiple tools. You may be going with all those things, but at some point of time, be comfortable to jump out of comfort zone and look at one system that will help you streamline your process, streamline your business, and give you a peace of mind. Great. Did I summarize it right?
I think that's brilliant. Thank you.
Excellent. Great. Thank you very much for joining me today and helping us to understand what is the importance of having a comprehensive operating system. I'm talking about software operating system, and how to remove the chaos from the life with the use of these comprehensive operating systems. Thank you very much for joining us. Greatly appreciate it. Again, BizBuzz, what matters the most, sponsored by My Work Belt. If you have not subscribed to us already, I would highly recommend you to subscribe it. Please share this video with some of your friends. Thank you.